We have a romantic image of the Middle Ages, chivalrous knights, grand castles, and fair maidens. It's a compelling fantasy, but it is a lie. For the vast majority, medieval life was not a pageant. It was a desperate, grinding struggle for survival. You wouldn't be a knight or a lady in a tower. You would be a peasant, cold, hungry, and living one bad harvest away from a brutal end. To understand the true, gut-wrenching reality of that existence, we must do more than list facts. We need to live a single day in their world. This is the story of a catastrophe, born not from battle, but from the very soil meant to sustain them. The story of the Great Famine, and why, within just one day, it would break you completely. Your 24 hours begin not at dawn, but in the deep, penetrating cold of a late summer night. In the year 1315, you are a peasant farmer in a village somewhere in England. There is no concept of a good night's sleep. You share a single room, wattle and daub hut with your parents, your spouse, 3 children, and your livestock, a scrawny cow and a few chickens, all separated by a low wall. The air is thick with the smoke from the banked fire, the smell of unwashed bodies, damp earth, and animal dung. You wake up shivering because even in August, the cold is persistent. It has been for 2 years. The Little Ice Age has begun, and the summers have been nothing but a procession of leaden skies and relentless, chilling rain. You didn't dry off yesterday, you won't dry off today. Damp is a state of being. Your clothes, a rough, woolen tunic and leggings, are constantly moist, chafing your skin raw. You rise from your bed of straw, which you share with your family and a thriving ecosystem of fleas and lice, and your first thought isn't of coffee or breakfast. It's of the gnawing, familiar ache in your belly. The Great Famine is not a future event. It is your present reality. The crops in the fields, the wheat, the rye, the barley, are not the golden stalks of promise you see in paintings. They are a soggy, blackened, flattened mess, rotting where they stand. The grain that should be fattening in the ear is instead sprouting mold or being devoured by a fungus called ergot, a purple-black blight that turns the life-giving rye into a vessel of poison. You step outside to assess the day. The mud is knee-deep, a sucking, filthy mire that never goes away. There is no grass, only weeds. The air doesn't smell of rain or earth. It smells of decay. This is your world as the sun struggles to rise. Your first task, before you can even think of food, is to face the grim ritual of survival. The day has barely begun, and you are already losing. What passes for breakfast is a testament to how far things have fallen. Your wife serves a thin, grey gruel from the perpetual pot hanging over the fire. It's called pottage, and in good times, it might contain peas, onions, and a bit of bacon fat. Today, it is hot water, a handful of moldy grain, and some foraged, bitter weeds. It does not nourish. It just fills the void for a few precious minutes. The bread, the true staff of life, has become an instrument of terror. It's dark, dense, and gritty from millstones that chip into the flour. But the real danger is invisible. The ergot fungus, thriving in the damp conditions, produces potent toxins. Eating bread made from infected rye can cause convulsions, gangrene, as blood vessels constrict and limbs literally rot and fall off, and vivid, terrifying hallucinations known in the Middle Ages as Saint Anthony's fire. You break a small piece of the hard, dark loaf. You have to eat it. There is nothing else. As you chew, you pray you aren't one of the unlucky ones today. You've seen it happen. Old man Henry, just last week, started screaming that demons were crawling under his skin before his feet turned black and cold. You swallow, and the fear is as palpable as the hunger. Wash it down, forget water. The stream where you draw your water is the same one that receives the waste from the village upstream. To drink it is to invite dysentery, a bloody, dehydrating death. Instead, everyone, including your 5-year-old son, drinks weak, sour ale. It's brewed from the same poor quality barley, but the fermentation process makes it safer than water. You are not drinking to get drunk. You are drinking to avoid a painful death. You start your day malnourished, slightly poisoned, and already a little lightheaded from the low-grade alcohol. It's 7 a.m. With a hollow stomach, you report to the fields. This is not your land. It belongs to the lord of the manor. You are bound to him, a serf, and a portion of everything you grow, the best portion, is his by right. The problem is, you are growing nothing. Your labor is the only currency you truly have. Under the watchful eye of the bailiff, you and the other villagers wade into the morass that was once a field. Your tools are wood and iron, crude and heavy. The work is stoop labor, trying to salvage something, anything, from the rot. Your body burns far more calories than you could possibly consume. You are a furnace with no fuel. The social contract of feudalism is breaking down around you. The lord's soldiers still come to collect their tithes, taking what little grain you managed to store from last year's meager harvest. To resist is to be flogged or imprisoned. You see your children's ribs beginning to show, and you hand over the grain that could have fed them for another week. The law is a blunt instrument, and it favors the man with the armor and the sword. By midday, the hunger is a sharp, stabbing pain. You haven't truly been full in months. Your body is consuming itself. Your mind grows foggy, your movement sluggish. The cold rain continues to fall, and hypothermia is a constant threat, even in what should be the warmest part of the day. You are working yourself to death, literally, for the privilege of starving a little more slowly. The hopelessness is a physical weight, heavier than any plow. It's in the fields that your youngest daughter finds you. Your wife is sick. She took a chill from the constant damp a week ago, and now she is burning with fever, racked by a cough that sounds like tearing cloth. This is a death sentence. You send for the barber surgeon, the closest thing the village has to a doctor. When he arrives, his methods will seem like torture. Medicine is based on the theory of the four humors: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. Sickness is an imbalance. Your wife's fever means she has too much blood. The cure is bloodletting. The surgeon opens a vein in her arm with a dirty lancet and lets her lifeblood drip into a bowl. She was already weak from hunger. This saps the last of her strength. If that doesn't work, he might apply leeches to suck out the bad blood. There are no antibiotics. There is no understanding of germs. The common cold can be fatal, and a respiratory infection like this is a virtual guarantee of death. You are powerless. All you can do is watch as the one person who shares your burden, who manages your household and cares for your children, is slowly extinguished by ignorance and disease. The infant mortality rate is staggering. 1 in 3 children die before 5. The average life expectancy is around 35, and that number is plummeting fast. In your first 12 hours, you have faced poison, starvation, and now the agonizingly slow death of a loved one, and the day is only half over. As evening descends, the atmosphere in the village changes. The desperation becomes palpable. You have to make a choice you never thought you would. The cow, your family's most valuable asset, is now just skin and bone. She has stopped giving milk. She represents food, but to slaughter her without the Lord's permission is a crime punishable by mutilation. You look at your children, their eyes large in their sunken faces, and you make the decision. You lead the animal behind your hut and do the grim deed. The meat is tough and stringy, but it is meat. You must eat it quickly before it spoils or is discovered. The smell of cooking meat, a rare and joyous scent, now fills you with dread. You are a criminal. This act of survival highlights another daily horror: sanitation. There is no waste disposal. The offal from the butchered cow is tossed into the street to join the human waste from the chamber pots that are emptied out of windows. The village is a festering open sewer. The stench is unimaginable, a thick, sweet, and putrid cocktail of rot and excrement that you can almost taste. Flies swarm everywhere. This filth is a breeding ground for disease. Rats, carriers of the fleas that will one day bring the Black Death, thrive in these conditions. You try to mask the smell with a small pouch of herbs, a pomander, but it's like trying to hold back a tide with a teacup. The squalor is inescapable. It's in the air you breathe, the mud you walk through, and the water that contaminates everything it touches. Civilization, in your tiny corner of the world, is beginning to unravel. Night falls, and it is a profound, pitch blackness, broken only by the faint, flickering light of your hearth. This is when the real terror sets in. With your wife dying and your food stores gone, you face an impossible decision. Do you stay and watch your family perish one by one? Or do you join the growing stream of miserable, starving people mentioned in the chronicles who wander the roads, begging, stealing, or simply dying by the wayside? To leave the manor is itself a crime. You are property. If caught, you will be branded and returned, but to stay is to accept a death sentence. You hear stories in the dark. A neighboring village was attacked by a band of desperate men. They weren't soldiers, just fathers like you, armed with scythes and clubs, looking for food. Cannibalism, the chroniclers would later write, occurred. You lie awake on your straw pallet, listening to the ragged breathing of your wife and the hungry whimpers of your children. The cold seeps into your bones. The hunger is a living thing inside you. The fear is paralyzing. This is not the fear of a bad day or a job loss. This is the primal fear of extinction, the slow, grinding collapse of everything you know. There is no hope of rescue, no government aid, no miracle. There is only the rain, the cold, the hunger, and the dark. Your 24 hours are up. You didn't need to be executed by a cruel justice system or cut down in a battle. The mundane, grinding horrors of daily life in the 14th century have already defeated you. The Great Famine would last for 7 years, kill millions, and weaken the population for the even greater catastrophe of the Black Death that followed a generation later. This story is not an exception. It was the rule. Medieval life was a constant, brutal negotiation with death. We are here today because our ancestors endured this unimaginable suffering. They chewed the poisoned bread, breathed the pestilent air, and faced the impossible choices that would send us running back to the 21st century, weeping with gratitude for the simple, overlooked miracles of a warm meal, a safe glass of water, and a night without terror. The past is not a romance. It is a warning, a reminder of how thin the veneer of civilization really is, and why we should never take our modern comforts for granted. Watch the next story to learn more, and let us know in the comments below which forgotten civilization you'd like us to bring to life next.